Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brainwash the Brook City. I'm super blessed to have a really amazing person today on my show, and it's going to be a super amazing conversation about really interesting topic when it comes to brainwashing and what we've been taught about, the personal power that we hold. And yeah, it's gonna be super fun. I'm really blessed to have him here. So welcome to the show, Mitchell Ryan.
Thanks for having me, bro. I love the way that you opened this because we just started laughing to get started. Like, this is a great way to start the podcast.
Yeah, that's awesome. Totally. So awesome. So let's dive in. So basically, we had a super cool conversation before we jump in. Holy smokes, we're already like 30 minutes talking here, and it's just like never ending. But hopefully, you have enough time to be here. So let's dive into, we had a conversation basically about, let's start with the school, right? Like, um, what is your opinion on school and like the way they taught us since the young generations, like young age, basically, about like how life should look like and so on. And yeah, just yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah, so when we're looking at the education system and the way that kids are brought up and the way that we were brought up, it was it was do as I say, not as I do.
Mm,
And we're taught from a very early age to, put our hands up to go to the toilet. We have to ask permission for everything. And the very subtle undertones of this that we don't really realize until we become adults is that we've been giving our personal power away every single day. We get thrown into a system which is Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. We get trained that this is, well, actually at school it's 9 to 3, but the concept is the same. So
mhm,
what happens is we get given these time frames. They build up the weekend. They make us look forward to the weekend because that's our time away from being at school. We look forward to holidays because that's the time that we're free,
mhm,
because we're not free when we're at school. And the the effects that this has on the psyche is that we get trained to be on this weekly cycle. We're on this weekly cycle that just we go through the week, Friday, can't wait to have the weekend. The weekend's over. Oh no, it's Monday. I don't want to go to school. And so we're constantly focused on the future. We're focused on like what I don't like about the future and then what I love about the future. And it's all designed within the structure. So yeah, not like looking forward to the weekend and then not looking forward to Monday. That's a great way to keep people controlled because all of a sudden we're focused on the days of the week. We're focused on where I have to go on Monday. And every bit of time and attention and energy that we're spending on what we don't want and what we do want external to us is time not spent focusing on who we are and what it
mhm.
is that we truly desire.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's really interesting, like how the whole system is built, and it's like people are basically trained to really be like just listen what we say, because if you don't do it you will look bad or you won't achieve what that, like they're trying to scare you out. I think it's like it's so crazy like how they trying to how they keep you you know being like not growing to the fullest potential of yours, but like like keep you small, keep you like obedient and uninformed, like those, it's just, this is not the right way how you supposed to be living your life, because your life is only one, and you should live your life in the fullest potential, and nobody should um determine based on like how and because the thing is, like, everything what we do basically, and how people or how we interact with other people is basically shaping ourselves, right? Like, go, if you can go a little bit into those topics, like how does all programming in your opinion actually like work, like what is actually the main cause of that is happening.
All right. So it's going to be probably less of an opinion and more so like it's just how programming works.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if we didn't have some form of programming, I'm going to speak a positive note on programming. If we didn't have programming, the world would turn to absolute shit.
Mm-hmm.
There is some merit, there is value to programming. There's
Mm-hmm.
value to this because it's a bunch of rules that are set by a society that keeps everyone kind of in line, and it
Mm-hmm.
stops people from going into chaos, because otherwise the world turns to what it's kind of doing now, which is people are going against the rules from a, let's say they're going away from the rules in a destructive way that
Mm-hmm.
is against the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what happens when people are sick of rules. They go, can I swear here? Is it okay? I
Yeah,
already
it's
said
all.
one, but yeah.
Yeah, all
Like
good.
fuck those rules. I'm gonna go this way and I'm gonna follow this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are people who think for themselves. Now, this is where the programming gets really intricate, because the programming is there for a reason, and it's designed to keep people obedient. It's designed to
Mm-hmm.
keep people also being coherent. So we
Mm-hmm.
agree on the same things. Language is programming. Language is a
Mm-hmm.
structure, which is also a technology that's designed to hold a culture together.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah,
without it,
yeah.
again, there would be no individual cultures. There wouldn't be individual religions. These are different ways that the programming has been structured.
Mm-hmm.
In
So
Australia,
yeah, yeah, that means like basically that pretty much everything like what we like how the way that we live in this world is basically we are basically programmed since the beginning, but some of those programming is basically done correctly, I would say, and some of them are done poorly, which serves other people. That's what I would say.
yeah. So it's yeah. There's ones that could be done better. One
Mm-hmm.
that's missing is so let's take the programming of Christianity, because
Mm-hmm.
let's say so in Australia, this
Mm-hmm.
society is founded upon Christian values.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Christian myself. However, the structures and the society has been built up on Christian programming. Now, this is equally beautiful. It's a great thing, and it also has a lot of negative downsides.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people rebel against the negative downsides. Sometimes they reject the good sides of it. What the most important thing to note is that if there's fear involved, it's probably not a good idea. If we're being told that we will be punished for doing something against the rules, that is where they lose me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say if I'm playing a game, you play a game of football, we agree on a certain set of rules. The rules are necessary, right? Because otherwise it's just chaos, people just kicking a ball around a field. So we agree upon a set of rules. And we say, these rules I agree with, and I'm going to play this game. Now, the problem with the society that we live in is that everyone's been given the same game to play.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when someone doesn't want to play football anymore? But you're told that, well, we play football here. No, well, I want to play baseball. I want to play music. I want to do something else. But the society doesn't agree with that. Then we have a problem, because
Mm-hmm.
the programming hasn't allowed for you to be allowed to play a different game. So we're actually talking about games and different rule sets. So let's say brainwashed to be broke. If the society is like, well, you should give all your money away to people who need it more. You don't need that money. Why do you need to make more money? Why should you make more money than the person that's across the road?
Mm-hmm.
And well, you don't need to. However, You have every right to as well. But the game, if we're playing the game that we were given, we won't do that. So we have to choose to play a different game, which means making our own rules, which means reprogramming ourselves to see and to essentially play our own game.
Yeah, that makes super clear sense, because this is, I haven't really thought about it this way, and this is really powerful. I think it's so clear how you like how you described it, that yeah, it's really interesting, because I love the way that you describe it, basically just because, like, we are programmed certain ways, and then there are ways like that, if we're not going to follow this type of script, you won't be you won't be accepted, or so on. And like, if you think about it from this side of, like, or from this lens, through this lens, it's really interesting, because like now you can start seeing all the different ways, like what is like literally not serving you well, and what actually does. And because the awareness is bringing to, like, the awareness is the first step to become powerful, basically take the power over it, because then you can start thinking, okay, this place, actually, like, this programming works for me well, or do I have to change something to actually achieve the goals that where I'm heading to, right? So yeah, this is really awesome to actually talk about. So let's dive into the personal power, and like the power of speaking and so on, like, that you are really good at, and like, yeah, let's dive into that topic.
Great, man. So, I mean, I'll start this back, referring back to the school part as well, just to segue it. We when we begin our lives, we're taught to defer our authority to other people. That
Mm-hmm.
is, we ask people for permission, we ask people for advice, and the parents and the adults and everyone around us will give us advice. Say, do this, don't do that. Do this, don't do that. Uh, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or children are meant to be seen and not heard. Or sometimes people will they'll sing, they'll start singing, and someone says to them, "Oh, you've got a terrible voice. You shouldn't sing. Stop singing."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone has an opinion and they tell them to be quiet. A child screams like a dinosaur and just wants to make, you know, animal noises, and the parent tells them off and tells them it's too loud and it's annoying. So that child they grow up believing that is their truth. Now, this is an early way of removing power from a human being. This is one among many things. This is voice specific. Without opening up a whole can of worms, the voice specific angle is that if we weren't told that we couldn't express ourselves from this early age, if we weren't told to be quiet, if we weren't told these things, we wouldn't be outsourcing our power to people in quite the same way. Now,
Mm-hmm.
to explain this, when you express yourself, if you've got something, let's say, political or something of an opinion to put out into the public space, who's the first person you think of that might hear that?
Yourself, I would say, right?
Yourself. Who else? If you said
Mm-hmm.
something that was a little bit left of center, a little bit, what's the word? A little bit triggering to people, is there someone that pops into your head that you'd worry about hearing it?
God, maybe, I would, like, if you believe in that, or your close ones, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. What do you think? Like, how do you mean?
Yeah. So most people, and I say most people, it's really everyone, because you talked about gods. So who are
Mm-hmm.
the original gods in our life as a child?
Mm-hmm.
Our parents.
Yep. Yep.
Our parents are the first gods.
Mm-hmm.
They're bigger than the world. They're the biggest, strongest people we know. So we idolize them as children. They give us advice. They keep us safe. They protect us. They are our original gods.
Mm-hmm. That's a really interesting way to see that.
Yeah, and so we outsource our
Mm-hmm.
power to them. We need them initially. We need them to survive. However, at a certain point, without proper initiation into our adulthood, especially young boys in that early teenage phase, if they're not given the proper initiation, which most of us haven't, of having a man, the father around to really raise us and teach us what's right and what's wrong and test us and bring out our strength. Well, that initiation doesn't happen, and we just continue on giving our power away to authorities. Whether we reject the authorities or not, if I can reject them and rebel against them, but I'm still giving my power away to authorities. I can say, I don't care what they think about what I'm saying, but by me saying that, I am telling you very clearly that I care about them. That's why I'm talking about it. That's why I would bring that person up. I don't care what my mum thinks about this, or I don't care what my dad thinks about this. If you hear that statement, that's a very clear sign that that person cares about what that person thinks, but they've just chosen the opposite side.
Yep.
And so that, in its sense, is giving power away.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Holy
And so we
smokes.
run every decision we make in our life based on whether this person will approve or disapprove.
Yep. So when, in your opinion, you stepping out to your biggest potential and to the power, basically?
Can you say that again?
That when do you, in your opinion, is when people are stepping in to the power? And when that happens, when you take, when you don't stop caring about others, or like what is causing them to like step out from the hiding behind something and being able to like rise.
Okay. So there's a lot of people will build an entire empire based off a big fuck you to one of their parents. Or one of their authorities, maybe one of their teachers. They said, you're going to amount to nothing. And they go, fuck you, I'm going to create an empire to spite you. Now, what happens to that person is they create that empire. They make all the money, they have the success, and they go, well, fuck you, that person that said that I couldn't do it. What's happened is that they've created the whole empire by giving their power away to that person because they needed validation from that person the entire time. Now, the work, when they truly claim their power, is when they realize the true gift that that person was for them. That thing that made them build the empire was the thing that someone did that they hated. They hated that person and it drove them to do the thing.
Right.
And the reclaiming of power is a form of reconciliation where that person realizes, oh, this person built me into the man that I've become. And until you get that in your heart, you will continue giving that power away.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is super powerful. I think like there is a bunch of people who are struggling with other people's opinions, and you can see it in basically in the world what we are living in, basically, and everybody like how they behave, like how, like, the mass shooting and all sorts of things. It's just crazy.
Well, so there's someone doing shootings. There is somewhere along the line where that person doing the shooting, whatever they're thinking, they're doing it for some good. This is, again, we have to be aware of this. People do things, they feel like they're doing a service, possibly a service to their community, to their religion, to their God. This isn't the problem with religion per se. This is to do with their perspective of that and what they're perceiving that they're going to get from it. Because not all Muslims hate Jewish people, and not all Jewish people hate Muslims. It's just a select few people. Like not all people are assholes, just some of them.
Yeah.
Most people are good.
And do you think that is all happening because of the programming that we are, like how we are trained, basically? Or what do you think, why is that happening? And like I can't even imagine like that. Yeah, it's just, this is not who I would be, like how I would be able to even like think about like doing something like that, right? Like this is just insane. But yeah, like what do you think, like is this based on the programming, or what is your thoughts on that?
Look, when we really bring it down, everything is programming. if we were
Mm-hmm.
to zoom out and look at the matrix and look at what it actually is,
Right.
where our entire civilization is based off this matrix system, which is, I like to look at it as like a fabric. So you imagine
Mm-hmm.
like each country has its own fabric.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to a country, it has its own the weavings in the fabric. It's like this is how we do things. This is how we drive. This is the food we eat. This is all of these things, and we all agree upon a certain thing. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say, and certain religions, yes, that's woven into that fabric.
Mm-hmm.
Now, now, when you come to a place like Australia, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very multicultural,
Mm-hmm.
Australia has a certain way. We've got a certain fabric. Now, most people come to Australia and they agree upon that. They go, cool, we see the way of life and we're going to weave our stuff into the fabric that exists. And
Mm-hmm.
some people go in and go, no, I don't like this. I'm not going to agree with this. I'm going to disagree with it. It's like you came to our country, you came here, and so you can be an individual if you want. But if you hate the people that we've accepted in here as well, it's like, well, maybe you should leave. Now, this is the social fabric. If we stand out of the fabric too much and we decide to not be a part of it, then we stand out. Now, this can be a good thing, may not be a good thing, but there's certain rules we got to follow. And
Mm-hmm.
shooting people in the street due to a difference in religion is not something that we do.
Right. Yep.
So when that happens, everyone looks at it and goes, how could you do this? This is
Yeah.
not in our social fabric.
Yeah.
That we don't agree with that fabric. We haven't incorporated that. We're not going to weave that in as part of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to remove that thread and take it out.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes completely sense. Yeah, this is really interesting, bro. Like this is like when you've been talking about, when people are basically punished to talk too loud or like do certain things that are not um or even share their opinions, who actually benefiting from that? Like who is it designed to serve?
Yeah.
Or what is it
So
designed to yeah, who is this designed to serve? Yeah, it does make sense.
it's
Hopefully.
so people self-govern themselves. So the
Hmm.
way that the rules of the social fabric are set up is that if I express an opinion and you disagree with it, well, it's a public forum, and if you say I don't like what you said,
Hmm.
I disagree with you, you have every right to say that.
Hmm.
Now, what that's doing within our programming is it's you testing me to see if I really believe what I'm saying.
Mm,
And what will
yeah.
happen if I didn't speak that from a place of strength, what's going to happen is you doubting me.
Hmm.
What's going to happen in the comments section? I'm
Right.
going to
Yeah.
reply to you. I'm going to try to have the best reply and defend myself and try to rationalize and justify everything that I said because you're just testing me. But I fell into your trap. I got triggered by you, let's say, having a negative view based off what I said. And if I get hooked into that, that's just a sign that I wasn't in my truth when I spoke that. I was just doing it because I wanted validation. And you
Yeah.
gave me the validation that my nervous system wanted, which is I want someone to disagree with me. My
Hmm.
nervous system is hardwired to be disagreed with. And so when you reply back, I'm just like, oh, you took the bait. I can't wait to, keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's like me subtly giving my power away to you in that instance.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So basically, like, if you would think about it, I don't know how much you have like knowledge and expertise in sales. Also, it's very very similar. It's like it's really um rem like reminds me how sales work, right? Everybody is sold on different type of frame, basically, right? And then the conversation is happening based on the frames are clashing between each other, and the one that has bigger uh basically facts inside of it, or somehow the person has like persuade the other one because that he has a weaker frame, he's basically trump it, and then you agree on that frame to actually and you buy the thing, for example, right? Which is, it's really interesting. It's pretty much works the same way in every area of like even the programming and all of that, right?
Yeah, so the frame, massive, because let's say in that situation, so I've put an opinion online. I said, black cars are better than red cars. And you're like,
Yeah.
nah, you're wrong. You're wrong. I disagree. You're an asshole. And then I'm going to sit here and justify why black cars are better. I can pull out all
Mhm.
the scientific facts. I can pull out that, more black cars are sold in the world than red cars. Therefore, they're
Mhm.
better. People agree with me. The world agrees with me. And I'm going to pull all of these things to pull my, justify it.
Mhm.
The problem with that, if I start doing this, you're actually holding the frame because you put out the disagreement.
Mhm.
I lost my frame the instant I bit into what you said to me.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really interesting. And this is
Because
from, oh my god, yeah.
if I lose my cool, so
Mhm.
I can speak something and I can say, this is what I believe. And if someone disagrees with me, if I want to hold the frame and someone goes, red is better, and I'm like, cool, thanks for sharing, bro.
Mhm. Yeah.
Or
There-
black is a terrible color. It's like, maybe you're right. That's cool. Thanks for putting your
Yeah.
opinion on here. I love it. Or I can ask you deeper and say, why do you think red's better?
Mhm.
And if I'm asking the question, this is where the sales comes in. If I'm
Mhm.
asking the question and you're justifying it, you're speaking it, then
You're basically sharing
I'm
your
holding the frame.
beliefs. But yeah, you're holding frame because the person that you're asking, he's going to start sharing the beliefs and so on. So basically you are now figuring out what is inside, like what he holds, what the frame he holds, so you can start reframing his point of view on that. So yeah, it's like the power of words and the expression and the communication is so important in every area of our lives. And like this is one of the biggest, like as you said, it's insane, like they are disarming us just because like since of the beginning of our lives to shut up and be quiet kid, be quiet, be a a good neighbor or whatever it is, like just follow the rules, do not talk about anything, you don't have any opinions, and then like in most of the people in they basically die in 25 years old because they completely shut it down, like they do not study, they do not have any opinion, they just agree with everything what the government says. And like or other people, like he just led by others, right?
Now, now this is a really important topic
Uh-huh.
because in order to be a good leader, you may have
Mhm.
heard this phrase, in order to be a good leader, one must be a good follower.
Mhm.
Now, the key within this is that if
Yeah.
the leaders we were following, when we follow good leaders that are truly embodied integral leaders, what they do is they make us more powerful.
Mhm.
So, for example, you running this podcast, the highest possible outcome is that if you're listening to Adam's podcast and you're listening to this right now, that you are in turn feeling more empowered within yourself. Because if you see Adam as a god, as this incredible human being, which is also true, the most important thing is that you reflect it back on yourself and that
Mhm.
you are allowed to be empowered within yourself and you're allowed to have your own opinion, your own view, and you're allowed to speak from your truth. And if a leader can't lead a follower to that, they shouldn't be leading. And so a good leader is someone that's learnt to be a good follower. They've learnt what it means to be a good follower. They understand what it means to be a good follower, which means I'm going to follow and I'm going to learn from you and I'm going to empower myself. I'm going to listen to this man and I'm going to absorb what he's teaching, and not just his data and his information, but also why he's doing what he's doing.
Mhm.
Like, can you feel the passion coming from this person? Can you feel why they're doing it? And when you hear that, it allows you to find that power within yourself, because
Mhm.
leaders are meant to ignite the fire within other people.
Yeah, this is incredible. I love it. And by the way, thank you for those words. This is really really meaningful for me. I love it. This is incredible conversation. Um, like the whole thing, the real reason why we're doing this is to really like, hey people, there is something is not working, right? And if it's not working for you and you are not living the way you live your life, you should be start thinking about how to change things. Is the power is inside of you. And the the most beautiful thing is that you have already the power that you need to make the changes, right? And just bringing here amazing people as Mitchell and being able to share his amazing knowledge and his experience and like how he's helping other people is just a god blessing for me, because like being able to support this type of humans and being able to like share his greatness around the world is just a small thing I can do for those amazing people as him. um so I'm really grateful to have you here and just having this conversation, because like I'm 100% sure this is changing people's lives. And if it even made me realize things that I haven't thought before, like the certain way that, using this type of angle, which is super super cool, because I love studying all the time something new. I love realizing stuff. I'm like all the time have to feel the movement going, and like it's just incredible to having these conversations. But let's go back to uh you know this topic, because we've been talking about like there is um there are those programming also like that people shouldn't sound you know as they are their own, who they are. Basically they should sound, for example, professional, or they should be, because that's not the correct way of presenting yourself. What is your thoughts on that, and why is this, well, in my opinion, it's wrong, because this is like this is brings authenticity and everything, like you the proper connection with your audience than actually, or with people, because if you're going to put mask on and start talking the way that you are not who you are not, it's never going to work.
All right, so this is my lane. This is
Mhm.
my absolute specialty here. Most people are expressing from what they perceive as their authentic self. That authentic self is usually the mask. So, for example, if someone speaks in a particular way and they go, "This is my authentic self," and I listen to them and I go, "You have about 5 layers beneath that are actually who you are. This is who society has told you you are." And if one person reveals one layer beneath what they were able to do before, they will say, "This is me." And it's like, it is, yes, it's another layer of you, but you have never heard your true voice before. You've never actually heard yourself, because you're hearing it through a filter that someone else has said, this is what's okay, this is what's not okay. And so when someone expresses a little bit of them, they express vulnerably, let's say. They express something vulnerable for the first time. And they go, but I can't be like that. I'm meant to be happy. I'm a happy person. But what are people going to think if I'm not a happy person? Because I've been told that I need to be a happy person. So all of a sudden, they're confronting an imposter syndrome. This isn't who I am. This is one layer of identity that they're facing off with. And so for them to show the world that they're not just a happy person all the time, that they actually go through stuff and that they have emotions, that's sometimes a big layer for someone. And again, that is one step. Now, I used this frame earlier on myself actually, because I was like, how much can I poke fun at myself? And so so I am the Timu version of me,
My
because
God.
when I show up in the world, there's a way that I want to show up. There's a way that that I'm like, this is me, this is the most authentic version of me. And then
Yeah.
what comes out when I rewatch it, I'm like, you were kind of awkward, you stumbled your words here, you did this. So what's coming out is the Timu version. It's still slightly filtered. And I know there's a lot of laughter, and then there's also beneath it's like, okay, why am I not showing that part of me? Why? And there are layers that I can see that most people don't. I see a lot of layers in myself that the average person doesn't see because I've been
Hmm.
focusing on this for a very long time. And I will look at myself and go, oh man, that was really phony what you said. Or that was really awkward what you said. And so I'll reflect on it. So equally it's hilarious and then it's like, oh, wait, why am I saying things that are a joke? Why am I filtering myself? And so that will highlight a new layer for me to work on,
Hmm.
which will be I was afraid of what Adam would think of me. Or if I were to really let loose on this podcast, would he be okay with it? There's all of these that come in. We don't know each other that well
Yeah. Yeah.
until this podcast. So I'm like, I'm feeling you out and I'm saying, what can I get away with? Can I swear? Can I do this? Can I just go on a big rant and go off on a tangent? Or are we sticking to the program? So we're still
Yeah.
testing the waters and I'm just going, how much of me can I bring to this?
Totally. Totally.
Which with people, the authentic self, your authentic self, Adam, and talking to the audience, if we really got down to the depth of it, in what I do with my clients is we pull it to the, like, go to the absolute core. We pull you right into your body and have you express from your body. Because most people express from their mind, they express what they think they need to say, they stumble their words, they stutter, they get lost. When we speak from here, we don't get lost from the heart, from the body. The words that come out are just, they keep on firing because it's alive in the body. And so the focus is how much can we bring our attention into the body whilst expressing ourselves.
Hmm.
Now, the fundamental issue with that is something that we would call programming.
Hmm.
It's stemming back to a lot of core safety issues within the body. There is a lot of trauma that's been held in the body. There's a lot of times when people don't feel safe to be themselves. Now, someone can say just be yourself, but the irony, because the people that tell us to be ourselves are also the same people who are not being themselves. And we can feel that they're not being their authentic self, but they want
Yeah.
us to do it. And like, you got to lead by example, bro.
Yeah.
Show me what it means to be authentic, and then I can model it.
Hmm. But I have a question, or like I have a topic to bring to that. Um, when you realize, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you realize, and when we talk about like those trauma that was happening, like is happening, and I think nearly everybody has something like that, and that's like also like my point of view, like when it comes to, when we are in school and like we are basically tested in front of our classroom. um Basically we are called in front of the whiteboard or whatever it is, and then I don't know how to express it properly, but I just like trying to bring the point. um but we are tested in front of the classroom, and like you say something wrong, right? Something that is not correct because you have probably like you seen it differently, or you may not be prepared or whatever. Just something happened that they brought you in front of the classroom and you are tested, and then you say something wrong, and like the way that the whole schooling system is, for example, is designed, everybody start laughing, the teacher even encouraging them to laugh. For example, I don't know if it happened to you or if you experienced it in your class when you've been in school, but it happened multiple times. And like this event literally punishing and like creating this type of feeling inside of the human body of the kid, that like taking the courage to be speaking in front of people and this type of things. This I in my opinion, this is one of the biggest because you have your friends there, like people who are spending literally the most time when you are a kid, and now they're testing you and they're just doing basically that in front of them. So they are basically putting you down in front of them just because you said something wrong. But like the best school, like what I've, everybody has to realize that everything what we uh every mistake what we do is the best teacher of, like, for us, because like everything what we do, like the mistakes we learn from it the the most, right? And this is, in my opinion, really really bad way, because those teacher has usually no even idea, like they just read some type of books or memorize something, and they teaching it over and over and over again. They never really did that in real world, but they are pushing you down in front of other people. So this is like, for me, it's insane, in like insanity completely, because like yeah, what are you thinking about this?
So as you're saying this, there's
Mhm.
like you said this happened to you.
It happened to me like not many, like, yeah, multiple times. But it even happened
Okay. Okay.
um with my, even like with my friends, or like multiple times when I've been like, there was some stuff like that you've been laughing whole day long, just because what some kids can just like spit out. It's just so funny sometimes, like when you just improvising, or how is the word, and like you don't know what the teacher is telling you, and you just like say something, so it's like, but yeah, either way.
So can you remember how it felt? Can you remember
Yeah,
any feeling in your
embarrassing,
body when that happened?
yeah, embarrassing,
No,
being
like what
like,
happened in your body?
oh, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
what like
Yeah. You mean like how I been, how, like my postures, or like how I been,
sure.
like
Did
everything?
did you did you feel safe?
No, yeah,
Uh,
not
Okay,
safe. Yeah.
not safe. What did you feel like? Did you feel like did you feel like you were going to survive?
Yeah. So yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Sort of survive, but maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that feeling, there's a reason that public speaking is one of the biggest fears that people have. I think it's the
Mm-hmm.
second or something under dying is public speaking. Because when people are public speaking, if they make a mistake, especially up in front of the class, we're
Mm-hmm.
taught that we can be right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can either be right or wrong, there's no middle ground. There's no room for error. And so what happens? We get up there, we make one mistake, we say one word wrong, and the nervous system inside goes, "This is unsafe, I'm going to die, help, help, help." And it activates the safety mechanism in the body, the core primal safety survival mechanism in the body, which says, "I need to get out of here." But in a lot of cases, it goes into what's known as a functional freeze, which is a cross between the parasympathetic nervous system and the fight or flight system. It's a hybrid nervous system state where we're kind of talking, we're kind of there, but we're also frozen like a deer in the
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
headlights.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
We're still talking, but we're not there. And that gets locked into the nervous system. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what happens when people get later on in life? They go, "That was a time that I expressed myself. That was a time that I got up in front of people." And if that felt unsafe, well, this is going to feel unsafe as well. So we have this pattern around expressing ourselves in front of people. Now, this is why people get locked into certain patterns of expression. People will speak monotone, they'll speak quietly, or maybe they'll speak really loud. Whatever it is, there's a compensation going on. And until that safety in the body has been acknowledged and processed, the person who is expressing won't feel safe to express the fullest depth of their voice, the fullest
Mm-hmm.
depth of their authenticity and their expression, because in order to do that, it requires a deep, deep level of safety in the body because it
Mm-hmm.
requires trust.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We have to get out of our head.
Yeah. that was one of the biggest issues for me, like when I've been starting and been able to like even interviewing people. I have been so terrified to like talking to people, and then I went to US. We've been on the event like literally first time in my life, and then I've been like having an opportunity to talk to those amazing, successful, like super successful people. And I was like, I couldn't speak at all. Like I forgot my language. I couldn't like English just disappeared. I was like, huh? I don't know how to speak. And I was like, my heroes basically from the beginning, like when I started the whole journey. And it was like, holy smokes, I wanted to just like have a conversation, info conversation. First was the worst, then second, third, fourth, and then it's like changed. And now like I'm starting interview because I love talking to those people. It's just insane. And then just jump into it and like, yes, it's still like sometimes feel but I have those emotions under control more and more. It's still like, that I'm not because like if you talk to somebody who is completely like we haven't seen each other like before, right? And we just talking now and like, but it was really since the beginning we just started the conversation like normal, literally friends. It was so interesting, like like when you get into that and just having a beautiful relationship building beautiful relationships there. it's it's just amazing.
Yeah, man, I love it. And like looking at like I feel like it's like I wanna wrap it like tie it together with what we were talking about in the beginning. Like
So,
we're talking about externalizing authority, talking about the personal power and how when we give our power away to other people, that is a problem for our expression because our
mhm.
authentic expression is when we are empowered within ourselves. That is the most truthful, authentic expression we can have is when we don't need to say that we don't care about what other people think because our attention is deeply focused from within. Not the mind, not the scattered thoughts, not the anxiety, but tapped into the fire that lives inside of our body, tapped into our heart. Because as we all know, the heart connects to everyone. If we don't speak from the heart, no one will really receive what we're saying. It just won't be received. It's just noise and it comes across as data. And we have a society that is so data heavy, it's so science based, and it's all in the brain, and it's great. However, what the new era of leaders is calling for is people who don't need that. They know it, but they don't need it because they trust in their transmission. They trust in what they're here to do. They don't need to pre plan very much because what comes out of their mouth is going to be pure fire. It's going to hit the mark and it's going to land in the body of the people that are there to receive it. And I have the confidence through the work that I've done that I know that my voice lands when I speak. That when people are listening, they stop and pay attention because the confidence to be heard, to be received, comes from an inner knowing. You cannot convince someone to listen to you. You cannot convince someone to pay attention. Maybe in the old world where sales was about convincing people, it doesn't work today. People need pure, authentic human connection. And without that, we can be replaced by AI easily. That is the thing that differentiates us between AI, is being able to connect in with the heart, in with the body, in with our fire, and bring it through.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, it's really interesting, like where we are headed to with those technologies and so on. But yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you so much, my friend. It was a pleasure to have you here. And yeah, I've been just loving it so much. Where people can actually find you and to support you, join your program or anything.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram it's at mitchell.d.ryan. That's my main place on there. You'll see anything that's coming up. You'll see my other podcasts. You'll see any programs that I do release. I will be releasing more group programs at some stage soon. Currently, if you are a movement leader that is interested in being more embodied in your voice, I am the person to speak to. Send me a message and let's have a chat. The world needs more embodied leaders that speak righteous truth that cuts through everything, that cuts through the noise. People with big missions, people who are here to change the game. So thank you for having me on the podcast, Adam.
Awesome. All right. Thank you everybody for listening. And yeah, we'll see you in a next episode. Bye now.